Hello, everybody. I am Randy Ray, and this is The Literate Texan. Welcome back to Driftwood Ranch. Today, how to start your own Booktube channel in 2025. And you may be thinking, well, who the heck does Randy Ray think he is to give me advice on how to start a YouTube or a Booktube channel? After all, he is not that big a player. And while it's true that I'm not a big player on Booktube, I'm satisfied with my progress here, and I'm happy with it. And most of all, I'm enjoying my experience here on Booktube. And I think if you're not enjoying it, you ought not be messing with Booktube. There are better ways and easier ways to make lots of money. It's really hard to get rich on Booktube, and I don't care how good you are at it. I've talked with people who do this for a living. He said, man, I remember asking one Booktuber friend of mine, I said, man, what do you do for a living? He said, man, this is what I do for a living. He said, but it's not much of a living. But if you love what you do, you never work for a day in your life, right? So, and I do have some qualifications. First of all, I am a booktuber. And second of all, I am happy with my experience as a booktuber. But since 2005, I have worked basically for myself as an internet marketing consultant, mostly in the area of search engine marketing and search engine optimization. And I worked at the internet marketing department at hotels.com. I was a consultant for PokerStars.com. I was the consultant, the SEO search engine marketing consultant for PokerStars during the poker boom. Does anybody remember that? When Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker and everybody thought they should start playing online poker because you could get rich being good at it. Excuse me, I'm going to adjust this camera just a tiny bit. All right, there we go. That's sort of better. That's not crazy better, though. Let's see here. Oh, my goodness. Sorry about that. Here we go. That's perfect. Okay. So, yeah, I've got a little bit of experience making money with websites. You know, this is how I earn my living still, is from my websites. I don't make my living from Booktube yet, and I might not ever, but I do have friends who do. And I'm also really perceptive and know which questions to ask and which ones to answer. Mostly what I'm going to focus on in this video, though, is what I wish I could go back in time and tell myself when I started my career as a booktuber. Because I got started, I guess it was in 2023. Sometimes, I know I've been doing this for over 2 years. I'm coming up on 3 years. And I've uploaded something like 227, 230 videos now. But I've also been really sick, sicker than I've ever been in my life during the last 2 years. So I don't feel bad about the low number of videos on my channel or the quote unquote relatively low number of subscribers I have on my channel. In fact, subscriber numbers aren't a very good metric for how well you're doing anyway. I'm much more interested in engagement numbers. And I'll explain why in a little bit, okay? But I actually wrote an outline for this. I wanted you to get your money's worth from this. So I wrote an outline. The first thing on my outline is that you should choose a niche. Okay, so everybody says this about every website and internet project. You got to choose a niche. You got to choose a niche. And niche selection is so important. It's so important. Well, you already have a niche. You read books, okay? The kinds of books that you read are going to be your niche for your Booktube channel, all right? If you're sitting around reading horror novels, you shouldn't choose a niche of, classic literature unless the horror novels that you're reading are classic horror novels, in which case you're dealing with a smaller niche, a sub-niche of classic horror novels, maybe Victorian horror novels or Gothic novels, whatever. But, it should be something you know a little bit about or that you're interested in learning about. And it's true that maybe all your life you spent reading classic science fiction novels, and now you want to branch out into literary fiction and make your Booktube channel about that. And if you're really interested in literary fiction, more power to you. You should go ahead and run with that. But people should know that your channel is about something. And that's all niche means. It means what's your channel about. It's okay to change your mind about your niche as time goes along. And it's okay to change your niche very soon after you launch. So, and you'll see by my general overall approach to Booktube why I say that here in just a minute, okay? So that was number one on my list here. This might not be a very long video at all because maybe I don't really know that much about starting a Booktube channel like I thought I did. We're going to find out. Number two on my list here is start now. Okay, this should have been number one, okay? This is the most important tip that I can give you, okay? You should start your Booktube channel right away. Okay, so I wanted to be a booktuber for about a year before I got started. But I decided there was certain equipment that I needed to have before I could start. And then I needed someone to help me set that equipment up because I didn't know anything. And the truth of the matter is, all I really needed was a stand to hold my phone and a phone. And I could use my existing phone. At the time I had a Google Pixel, now I'm using a Galaxy. These aren't the fanciest phones in the world, but they're certainly sufficient to start a Booktube channel with. But, the thing is, I don't care how much preparation you do before making your first video on Booktube. Your first video is probably going to suck anyway. In fact, your first 100 videos are probably going to suck. In my case, you might wind up with 230 videos that suck. The idea is to continue to get better over time. Make small incremental improvements with each video over time. So yeah, I'm going to encourage you to start right away because, I commented and talked to a lot of booktubers, but I really wish I'd gotten started right away and not been such a perfectionist because there was just no point in it. I would have had so much more fun that year that I was procrastinating on starting my channel. I've got a couple notes underneath here. So, you don't need a new phone. You don't need a fancy microphone or anything like that. It's great if you can afford them and buy them, but you don't need those to start your channel. You don't even really need a stand to hold your phone, although they're not that expensive. You can hold the phone like this if you need to and stuff. Sometimes I do that during live streams. I'm just holding the phone with my hand. People can probably tell it probably irritates them, but that's just the way it is right now. So, but yeah, it's really, a lot of people care about lighting. Natural lighting is just fine. Most of my best looking videos, I'm using lighting from the window at my house, here at the ranch. That's just how it is. Now, if I'm making a video at night, obviously I've got some lights that I use for that. But you get to decide what time you're going to make your videos during, and if you don't have the money for a light, which, is fine, you can just resolve to make your videos during the day, okay? And a lot of people use editing software. They spend a lot of time editing their videos. It's not necessary, okay? Some of the most successful booktubers I know don't edit at all. And some of the most successful booktubers I know don't write scripts at all either. I do almost all this stuff almost completely off the cuff. Yeah, I'm working from an outline here, but I don't have a script. These are just talking points that I don't want to forget. As far as editing software goes, I've seen people do some neat stuff with their editing, but your channel's not going to fail or succeed based on whether or not you're using editing software to edit your videos. I'm absolutely convinced of that. If I'm wrong about that, or anything else that I've mentioned in this video, you go right ahead and correct me in the comments field. I'm here to start a discussion, and these are things that I would have told myself when I was getting started, because for a long time I was really stressed out that I didn't have editing software. There's plenty of free editing software out there, by the way, but I didn't have editing software. I didn't know how to edit a video, and I wasn't ready to learn yet. I'm still not. I'm still using unedited videos for the most part. Now, I do have friends on Booktube now who've offered to do some editing for me. And that's one of the really cool things about staking out your own little claim in this little corner of Booktube is that you're eventually going to form a community of people around you who actually really like you and are willing to help you and want to help you. And the people who've offered to help edit my videos, they're an example of that set of people. So now when you do get ready to start upgrading, okay, this is the order that I think you should upgrade in. And my mind has changed on some of these things. But the first thing you should do, and I haven't even done it yet, and I don't know when I will, but the first thing you should do is get a microphone, okay? Audio matters more than you think. I think my videos sound fine, but I have multiple viewers of my channel who complain about my audio all the time. And I'm sorry, I just haven't been able to find the microphone that I want that works in the way that I want to use for this channel. But I will, and then the sound quality will get a lot better and stuff. But the microphone would be the first thing I would get. Some people think you'd get a better camera, but I think my pictures are just fine. And this is a cheap phone, but and the pictures on my Google Pixel were even better. What I have next here, lighting would be the next thing I would invest in. And I have already invested in lighting. I'm using a little bit of lighting right now. I've got a light that attaches to the stand that holds my phone. and it was very, very affordable. But I do make some videos at night, and I needed a light for that. I probably need bigger and better lighting, but in the videos that I've seen about, God help me, I'm watching videos about how to improve my photography and my photography, including the way I film my Booktube videos. But they all involve, or almost all of them involve, at least some discussion of the lighting that I'm using. And then after I've upgraded my lighting to where I want to, I'd invest in a tripod. I did both of those at the same time, the lighting and the tripod. If I had to go back and do it again, maybe I would have gotten the microphone too, but that's the order that I would do it in if I were doing it today. But I already have these things, so. And only then, after I've taken care of the sound, the lighting, and the holder, only then would I worry about upgrading to some kind of fancy camera. Okay, and even then, I don't know that I'm going to get a much better camera than the Google Pixel offers. Maybe an Apple phone might do it and stuff, but I'm just not a professional photographer, and I'm not interested in learning to become a professional photographer. And I'm not a cinematographer either. And these aren't really movies, so I'm just saying. The next thing I've got listed here is editing software. You'll almost 100% probability that you'll never see me invest in editing software. I don't see much point in editing my videos right now. I feel like I'm having a conversation with my viewers and my friends here. And, I don't need to do a lot of editing. You guys don't care if I occasionally have a vocalized pause. Apparently it doesn't bother you because you keep coming back, you keep watching my videos, and you keep saying nice things to me. And God bless you for it. I love it. But yeah, that would be the next thing I would invest in. And then, and you got to be making some serious dough before you start worrying about this too much. Then I would invest in upgrading my studio set. Okay, buddy of mine told me that a lot of the really successful YouTubers out there, the ones who are making 5 figures a month or 5 figures a week, they're not filming in their own homes. They're renting homes that are set up just to be staging grounds for YouTube videos. I thought that was fascinating. I am far and away from being ready to invest that kind of money in my Booktube channel. But it might be kind of fun and cool to do. On the other hand, I think this is pretty nice. A lot of people seem to think that this particular background works for me. I like it. So that was number 3. But the main point, don't wait to get started. Don't procrastinate. Just get started, okay? And I'll tell you what, I'll do this. If you're watching this and you're just a commenter and you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, go start your channel, okay? And make a little video, 2 minutes long. Talk about a book that you just finished. Or talk about some books that you planning to read. Make a little TBR video. Post the link in the comments here in this video, or just post a note to me, or send me an email, whatever. And I will share your video on my wall so that you can start getting some exposure. People will start following you because, I don't have the biggest audience in the world, but I do have an engaged audience. And this will help you get a jump start finding your own tribe, okay? So if that encourages you to get started right now, then this video's been worthwhile for you and me both, okay? And I love making new friends, so I'll get to make a new friend in my Booktuber family. All right, so number 4 on my list, video ideas. Where you get video ideas, okay? Well, the easiest way to get video ideas is to watch YouTube videos or Booktube videos, because a lot of them are generic enough that everybody on Booktube does these, okay? There's some pretty standard ones, okay? And I've got them listed here. Book hauls, okay? Book haul video is very, very popular video. Doesn't matter how many of these I do. People love to see what books you just bought in your book haul. And you can get creative with this too. Not everybody buys their books. A lot of people get their books at the library. That doesn't mean you can't make a book haul video about it. I know public libraries that let you check out 10 or 20 books at a time. You can make a book haul about your library books that you checked out. There's nobody stopping you. There's no real rules, okay? So that's just one kind of video you can make. Another kind of video that you can make is an unhaul where you get rid of books and stuff. That's kind of a fun video to make too. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it ought to be self-explanatory, All right. And then the next thing on my list, TBR. TBR stands for to be read. So if you've got a list of books, if you're a planner and you've got a list of books that you want to read or you're planning to read during a certain time frame, make a video where you show off this list of books and say something about each book on your TBR video. Audiences love this too. You know, I get a lot of engagement on my TBRs every single month. I do a monthly TBR. You know, I know people who do annual TBRs. I also know at least one booktuber, Kelly over at Books I'm Not Reading, who used to do a quarterly TBR, but she has since switched to a monthly TBR because that's what most of the other booktubers do. Wrap-up videos are cool. I used to do a monthly wrap-up video every month to say these are the books that I read and what I thought of them. I have since graduated to doing a weekly wrap-up video. These videos generally aren't as long because I haven't read as many books. But yeah, everybody loves to hear what you think of what you've been reading, okay? So wrap-up videos are easy. That's 4 ideas, that's 4 or 5 ideas right there, okay? The other ones I've got on here are listicles and reaction videos. A listicle is just a list. These are my top 10 favorite authors. These are the 10 best books I read last year. You know, it's just a numbered list, okay? People love that kind of content. They've always loved that kind of content. This is not content that is new to the internet or spurred on by the internet, because even when you went into the grocery store in the 1970s, you know, you'd get a Cosmopolitan magazine with like 12 ways to please your man in bed. Okay. Those numbered lists go way, way back. People love that kind of content. And in reaction videos, now, I'm generally not one to start a lot of arguments, you know, live and let live, right? But it can be fun to react to somebody else's video. Sometimes it's okay to do it tongue in cheek. Sometimes somebody is dangerously misleading the people who are watching their video, and a reaction video can be negative and critical. And those are just my ideas, okay? All you have to do to get more ideas is sit down and watch Booktube all day one day. You know, anything that seems interesting to you, that you can also make unique to your channel, you know, run with it. We all steal ideas for general articles from each other. You know, I made a video recently called How to Read 100 Books Per Year. There are plenty of articles about how to read 100 books per year. I don't know that most of them say anything much different from what my article says. Or my video, I'm sorry. I've been in the internet marketing game so long that I've always done things in terms of print pages. I've done articles. So I have to replace the word article with video when I'm talking about this stuff now. Number 5, posting frequency and consistency. Okay, so it's more important being consistent about when you post than it is to post a lot. When I started, I was really eager to post a video per day. Obviously, I've been doing this for 2.5 years and I have 230 videos maybe. So I have obviously failed miserably at getting up a video per day. But, you know, I'm doing a lot better than a video per week or video per month. But there's nothing at all wrong with doing a video a week or a video per month. One video per week is just fine. What's important though, if you're going to do one video per week or one video per month, is to try to post that video at the same time on the same day. Or, okay, so maybe that's not that important, but I like consistency. And the booktubers I know who are successful tend to be doing that sort of thing. They're extremely consistent. Okay. And I'm trying to become more consistent with my videos, even though I'm back to trying to post a video a day again. And I'm having more success at it now because my health is on an upward tick at the moment, but I'm trying to post more than one video per day. And, but you know, I'm trying to post specific types of videos on specific days. Like, you know, Saturday is my day for my weekly wrap up. So I want you to kind of have a feel for what's coming, even if you don't know that you have a feel for what's coming. And some of the booktubers that I respect the most are religious about their level of consistency and not as religious about their posting frequency. So I don't have too much else to say about that, but I would love to hear other opinions about posting consistency versus posting frequency. I'm absolutely convinced that consistency is more important than frequency, but you might have a very different opinion. And if you do, I want to hear it down in the comments. Comments are down below, by the way. It's pretty easy to comment and stuff. So, and then let's see here. We're getting close to the end here, okay? Because let's face it, I'm just I'm kind of a new to booktubing, and I'm doing all right at it, and I feel good about it. But I'm, like I said, not an expert on Booktube yet, okay? So also, let's see what comes next here. Having trouble getting this page to turn in this notebook where I kept these notes. Hang on with me. Bear with me. It's very unprofessional of me to be having trouble with this. You see people, they lick their fingers when they're turning pages. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. I'm still having trouble with it. Got it. Turn the page. All right. So the next thing on my list is community. All right. So if you're a booktuber, especially a new booktuber, you got to decide how much you want to get involved with the community. I suggest and recommend that you get very involved in the community. Okay. Now, you may have a different set of goals than I do. My goal is to make friends, among other things. Yeah, I'd like to make a little money off my Booktube channel, but I'd much rather make friends and have people to talk to about what I'm reading. You may be all about making the money. And in that case, you may not be worried about your community at all. And a lot of the bigger booktubers, the ones with 100,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers, whatever, they don't participate in the Booktube community. But in our little corner of Booktube, where I'm participating, I take part in events, reading events like June on the Range, Book Trek. You can find videos about these on my channel if you just look. Or you can search for Randy Ray Book Trek or Randy Ray June on the Range, and you'll find videos about these events. Okay, you should participate in tags. A tag is when somebody has a list of prompts or a list of questions that you answer in your video. And if you're lucky, somebody will say, hey, Randy, you're tagged. You get to make a video about this too. Let's see here. And then where'd we go here? All right. Reply to the comments. When people leave comments on your channel, I'm a big believer that you should reply to them, unless they're trolling, in which case you should probably just delete them. Although I have gotten in an argument with a troll on occasion. You should comment on other booktubers' videos. You should be watching what's going on throughout the Booktube community and participating in conversations there. These are things that I think you ought to be doing. But like I say, you might have different goals. You might be following different strategies. Number 7, tips for growing your channel. Okay, so part of growing your channel is getting traffic to your videos. Okay, so, and part of getting traffic to your videos is doing well in the algorithm. And I've talked to a lot of friends over at Booktube who are convinced that the algorithm is just random and that you shouldn't try to cater to the algorithm. And I disagree. I don't think the algorithm is random at all. I've got a friend who recently made a video where he started getting 1,000 new visitors per day, every single day, for 40 days. His video has got this one video of his has gotten 1,000 visitors per day for 40 days. I think my channel has 220,000 visits or page views for its entire life. And that's over 200 and something videos. This is just one video of his. So what did I do? Well, I went over to his video and I copied it shamelessly and made a slightly different topic about it. His video was something like 6 obscure books that nobody reads anymore. So I made a video of 6 classic books that are favorites of mine. And I copied him as closely as I could. I made a very, very similar thumbnail, because the thumbnail affects your click-through rate. Click-through rate is just a percentage of people who see your video that actually click on it and start watching it. And if nobody clicks on your video, you can't rack up any view time. You don't get visitors to your videos if nobody clicks on it. So your thumbnail is actually pretty important. And I know booktubers who don't put any effort into their thumbnails at all. You just get a picture of their face. And you know what? That's fine too. That's no problem. Unless you're really interested in growing your channel. If you're interested in growing your channel, pay attention to your thumbnail. Also pay attention to your title. I'm not going to explain how to write an effective title tag here, but I'm going to give you a couple of tips, okay? One is that the words "how to" are power words when it comes to making a title. That just means they get a higher click-through rate. And that's been demonstrated repeatedly in the internet marketing community. I've never heard anybody mention it on Booktube. But if you want more views, use the word or the phrase "how to" in your title tag. That's one thing you can do. The other thing is people are more likely to click on a video if the title tag has a numeral in it. We were talking about listicles earlier. Guess what? Listicle titles get higher click-through ratios than non-listicle titles. So, that's just 2 tips from an old internet marketer that I don't think are going to change or go away over time. So yeah, your thumbnail and your title, that's what's going to affect your click-through rate. That's what's going to get people started watching your video. Now, YouTube's goal is to get watch time, because the more watch time they have, the more advertising they can serve in the long run. And also they can brag about it in the investors' meetings. This is how much watch time we had. So not only are they going to look at your click-through ratio, but they're also going to look at how long somebody sticks around and watches your video on average. You take your click-through ratio, you multiply it by your average watch time, you get a score, okay? That score is going to determine how likely it is for YouTube to show your video to someone who might be interested in it. If you have a really low click-through ratio, they're going to draw a conclusion accordingly with the algorithm. Hey, let's not show this to anybody. It's not going to get clicked on anyway. If people click on your video, but then they jet after a minute or two, guess what? Doesn't matter how high your click-through ratio is, your average dwell time is so low that they assume that it's not a very good video. So that's what's up with that. Also, consistency, like we talked about before, that's a really important part of growing your channel. I'm not going to talk about monetization in here, other than to say there are multiple ways to monetize a Booktube channel. I don't know that you necessarily need to worry about it. It just depends on your goals for what you want to do on Booktube. If you want to make money from a Booktube channel, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. More power to you, baby. But this is not a high-paying niche, okay? If you're on the internet and you know anything about internet marketing, you know that different niches pay differently. Like the gambling niche, for example. If you have videos that rank really high for gambling-related subjects, you know what? You're going to make a lot more money than you will off of a channel that talks about books. Books are just not very profitable items unless you're looking at very specific sub-niches like collectible books. So that's all I've got right now. This is how to start a Booktube channel in 2025 for beginners. It's probably the first in a series because I've probably got more to say, but I'm getting a little tired today, and that's not going to do you guys any favors because you're gonna get bored if I'm tired, and I'm not going to make as much sense either. So look for more videos in this series. Until then, I want to thank you again for watching. Please comment down below. Disagree with me. Agree with me. Either way, I want to know what you think. And until my next video, I want to ask you to do 2 things for me. Stay sexy, folks, and stay hydrated.